Hello, this is Miho from Canada. How are you guys doing? I hope your mental and physical health is good and fit. So today, for instance, it was a beautiful day. It wasn't too hot, it wasn't too cold. It's just perfect blue sky. And you might have experienced those perfect, beautiful days. And when the weather is like that, people are so cheerful. Like they haven't done anything, you feel it. So you use this energy from the nature to make yourself feel so light. And when you're light, you are so clear in your vision and you feel so good about yourself, and you want to explore yourself more. You want to do a lot of other things to try, or you just feel simply so good about yourself. And when you put yourself in the nature, you get this free energy from the nature. It really fixes a lot of things. And when you go through your daily life, probably you look into the very micro the world, like looking at the iPhone or computer or desk work and dealing with those daily chores. Your perspective is very, very limited and narrow, which is necessary to do things, but it gets overwhelmed and you just need to release yourself to the bigger vision. I do this all the time to get out of this daily chore or daily routines. And because when you put yourself in a bigger picture, as if you go out of the earth to the universe and look at where you're at, and you're looking at this little star called Earth. When you look at the span of the universe, which we don't understand at all of it, but it's huge. There are so many millions, billions of stars. It's so hard to imagine. And then we live in this the star called Earth. And there's so much going on this Earth or around your life. But when you look at the whole span of the universe, it's so little. It's so tiny. It's just a little dot. So when you put yourself in that perspective, all your worries or anxieties or stress becomes so little. When you look at the whole span of the universe. So when you put yourself in the nature, it's easier for me to put myself into the bigger perspective of life. And there's so many things to really appreciate: your health and people around you, and how fortunate you are to have a place to live and sleep safely. And there's so many people who help you to sustain your life, like food delivery, all the necessity around the life and educations and people and work and all that. You cannot do it by all yourself. So we kind of help each other continuously, and you have your part to play as well. So in order to have a nice and peace and calm and peaceful state, you need to lighten yourself. When you're really heavy and tense and worried and lots of anxiety, you're really tight and your muscle gets tense, and probably your expression gets really tense as well. And instead you just release that. And in order to do that, I use the nature, which has a lot of energy and free energy, to release your tensions away. And you need to look at where those tensions are coming from. Is it coming from you internally, or you're getting it from others, like people's thoughts, angers or frustrations and anxieties and worries and tensions and nervousness. And when people give that, to you, you will take it as if it's as if it's all yours. But you need to distinguish this in between. When you see the boundary yourself, like, you really need to know those feelings are coming from. So if you recognize that's not coming from you internally, it's coming from outside, you can literally separate that from yourself, because it's one thing that it's coming from you internally and you can deal with it, but when it's coming from outside, that's not yours. So that you learn to let go, you learn to release, you learn to lighten yourself, and you can focus more on the things that it's important to you instead of focusing on the outside of yourself, which usually gives unsteady, ups and downs, a lot of dramas involved. So go out in the nature. For me, it really works to see the big picture and where you're at. And instead of feeling other people's all the traumas and worries and anxiety, you can literally brush that off, and because you can separate those from what you're really feeling, and just let that go, or cut those cord, the connections. It's not the relationship cutting, but it's like intangible connection that you have between people. So you cut those, and because it doesn't belong to you, it's coming from other people. So instead of carrying all those people's baggage, emotional baggage, or those the heaviness, you can just let that go and make yourself free. And you, as a person, it should be free and light, and that's where you want to be. But when you're living in those micro world, dealing with all those little things that are happening in life, and important things, and dealing with family issues, kids, parents and work and all that, your focus gets really narrow. So that make yourself the time to see the bigger picture, so that you can really see where you're at, what your state of being, why you worry, why you feel this unresolved kind of uncomfortable feeling. So when you recognize where's that coming from, you can just let them go. I do this all the time. You feel something not quite comfortable, you find out where the source is, and then you just let them go. A lot of the time it's coming from outside. When you go out into the workforce, or just going out, you meet or hear all those news or conversation from other people, and at the same time you're absorbing all those energy as well. So you recognize that difference in between, that you put the boundary, and then you separate those and you just let them go. And you want to be nice and light, and you want to be in a peaceful, calmness state of being, so that your life gets so much enjoyable, and you can really focusing on what's important for you, and that's where you want to be. None of those, worrying about other people's way too much, or try to fix all the problems, and carrying all the baggages from other people's as if it's yours. And sometimes it's necessary to see other people's issues, but they need to resolve that, and you can advise as much as you could, but they're the one who need to let go of all the fears and all that. So you don't need to carry it for them. So you just let yourself be light and a good state, and you be able to help others in much better conditions. So focus is on you, and I use the free energy in the nature as well, because they have such a bigger picture of the whole thing, and you realize that you're so focused on yourself. So take care. See you soon.